Welcome back to Remote Learning. We continue this morning with Part B of Lesson 4. Decide what to do with the remainder continued. 2 pages will be shared with you today. Make sure you follow along, and there'll be problems for you to do off both pages 156 and 157. Sometimes you use a decimal number instead of a remainder. That's where we're heading. It's one of the big thought pieces for the whole unit is working with decimal divisors or dividends more. I hope to get into the divisors, but working with a divisor in the dividend is of great significance in this unit. Suppose 16 friends earn $348 at a car wash. It's a lot of money. They want to divide the money equally. The division at the right shows that each friend gets $21 and there are $12 left over. Make sure you know what those numbers mean in the dividend and the remainder. In the dividend, as you can see, that represents $348. The divisor 16 represents how many friends were working together at the car wash. Well, there's 2 ways you can do it. As we continue, dividing the $12, each friend gets an additional 12/16 or 3/4. They reduce 12/16 to 3/4. Well, to do 3/4, you have to know what 3/4 equals as a decimal. Most of you do, 75/100ths. Let's look at this division and figure out how to come up with a decimal without starting with a mixed number and then converting it to a decimal. So 348 and 16. Let's continue with the principles that we've been doing. Estimating our 2-digit divisor. We're going to round to the nearest 10. I round 1. I look at the 6. 5 and greater tells me to round up by 1. So we get 20. 16 goes into 34. If we use 20, it would be 1 time. But we always say we have to use our number sense. We need to look at this. I feel comfortable with 16 times 2 is 32. So I know it's not 1, but it's going to be 2. So I divide by 2. I multiply 2 times 16 and get 32. I subtract. I bring down. I get 28. 16 into 28. I know that's 1 time. I can see that with my number sense. Don't need to estimate it. I get 2, I get 1. Now, I could write it as 12/16, reduce it to 3/4, convert 3/4 to 75/100ths, or we could use where we're heading in this unit, and let's add a decimal. Decimal goes at the end, we know that. We bring up the decimal using the Stegmuller method, and we add zeros until we either get a 0 for a remainder or a repetend. Well, they gave us the answer. We know 16 goes into 127 times. Still do this, and we get 112. All right, regroup. We get 8. Bring down another 0. 16 goes into 80. As you're getting, some of you are getting quite comfortable, getting proficient with your number sense. And you can say 16 goes into 85 times. We could say, use the estimated, that would go 4 times, but 16 is quite lower than 20. I'm going to try a 1 up. And that equals right on the knot 80. Got a remainder of 0. Don't forget your dollar sign. It's $21.75. Let's multiply to check our work. We get 30, regroup. We get 42, 45, regroup. 6, 10, regroup 1, 12, 13, 5, 7, 1, and 2. I add up. I get 8, 4. I have 2 decimal places. This goes back to Unit 4. 2 decimal places in my answer. Place my decimal there. It checks out. $21.75 is my answer. So we're going. Great example. Great example. Let's do one more here. Sometime, number four. Number four. A rectangular garden has 882 square meters. The long side of the garden has a length of 35. How long is the short side? I'm going to erase, and I'm going to draw. I'm going to use not only a equation, but I'm going to draw a little diagram. Rectangular area. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. They say the long side is 35. We don't know what the short side is. The area equals 882 square meters. So area equals length times width. We know what the length is. We don't know what the width is, so we go 35x. Whoops, I do know what the area is. Get that out of there. It's 882. So there, I have an equation. I understand how to get the equation by using the model. And now I'm going to divide 35 into 882. Okay, 35 rounds to 40. 40 would go into 88 2 times. I think that would be the same for 35. 35 times 2 is 70. I subtract, I get 8. We got 182. Okay, 40 would go into, get rid of that number. That number, 4 goes into 18 4 times. Let's try it. 4 times 35, 20, 12, 14. I think I can get closer, can't I? Let's go 5 times. Add another 35. That's 175. Regroup, and we get 7. All right, so what is the length in meters? Well, I can use this as a mixed number, but I know I can reduce using prime factorization. 7 is a prime factorization of 7. It's already a prime number. 35 is 5 times 7. I can cancel and get 1/5. So I could write 25 and 1/5. I could do it out as a decimal, but for time's sake, we're going to leave it as this. So each, not a very good 5 here. Not a very good 5. All right. That would be what? Meters? Let's check our work. 25 times 35. 25, regroup 2. That's 12. 15, regroup 1. 6, 7. 875, but I got to add my remainder, and I get 12, 882. It checks out. So 25 and 1/5 meter is our missing term. Let's do another problem. Had to check my watch. I got a meeting coming up, so I have to keep my time short. We got time for one more. Number 5. Number 5 states, sometimes the remainder is the answer to the problem. A bagel shop has 138 bagels to be packed into boxes, of 12 to be sold. I love bagels. The extra bagels are for the workers. Extra would mean what's left over that couldn't fit into a box of 12. How many bagels would the workers get? Why is the remainder the answer? Well, 138 is my dividend, because that's how many bagels are being divided up. 12 is how many go in each box. That's my divisor. I'm not going to use a estimate here. 12 goes into 13 once. When we're dealing in tens, you can use an estimate, but you don't necessarily have to. I think our number sense is coming along where we can handle that. Subtract, bring down. 12 goes into 18 one time. So we get 11 full boxes will be packed. What are we going to do with the 6 bagels? They go to the workers. So why is the remainder the answer is on that question? Well, you can't put 6 in a box of 12. Somebody would be really upset. You got home, I'm expecting 12 bagels, and you got 6. Not good. So what's left over goes to the workers, based on the context of the problem. What we're going to do for homework today, you're going to do 6 and 7 on page 156, and then I'm going to have you do 6 through 10. That's 5 problems. We'll do 11, 12, and 13 tomorrow together, and we'll do the last page on this. So please do your math in the morning. Come with questions to the meeting. Good luck, and make sure you check your work.